Hello everyone, let's have more news about the Miami Heat, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Steve Kerr says Eric Spoelstra gave him reassurance about Jimmy Butler, despite Star's messy Heat exit. Before the trade deadline, when the Golden State Warriors seemed to be headed toward another season of mediocrity, a report surfaced indicating that two influential figures within the Warriors organization had reservations about acquiring six-time All-Star Jimmy Butler. According to NBA analyst Kevin O'Connor, star guard Stephen Curry and head coach Steve Kerr harbored concerns about Butler's personality fit. Still, the Warriors acquired Butler anyway, and they gave up a player who was key to their 2022 title run in Andrew Wiggins, along with other pieces, in exchange for the veteran. Months removed from the Warriors making that win-now move to acquire Butler, Kerr has revealed that longtime Heat head coach Eric Spoelstra told him Butler would be great for the Warriors. Eric Spoelstra told me immediately, he said, "He's going to be great for you," Kerr revealed. "And I know Spo really well from the last couple of summers, and I trust him. I believed him, and he was right." Kerr had nothing but positive things to say about his experience coaching Butler this season. "He was an absolute dream," he said. "I know everything that happened in Miami would not have suggested that, but I can only base Jimmy's impact and his personality and all that stuff on my experience. And he was the model citizen. Just an amazing guy to coach these last few months." Spoelstra proved to be right, as the play of Butler was a big reason why the Warriors were able to turn their season around for the better after the trade deadline. The Warriors won 23 of the 30 games Butler played in for them during the regular season, and their strong finish to the campaign helped them nab a playoff spot in a tough West after they survived the play-in tournament. After punching their ticket to the playoffs, the Warriors then pulled off a series victory in the opening round with the help of Butler. He was available in 6 of 7 games against the number 2 seed Houston Rockets and scored at least 20 points in 4 of those games. Butler and the Warriors saw their season come to an end at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves in the second round, but Curry was sidelined for a large majority of the series with a hamstring injury. It's worth noting that Butler caught some flack for being too passive with Curry sidelined. Perhaps if Curry didn't go down with his injury, the Warriors would still be kicking in these playoffs. Kerr should be optimistic that the Warriors can make a deep run in the 2026 NBA playoffs if all of Butler, Curry, and fellow veteran Draymond Green can stay out of harm's way. Now let's go to another video. Don't forget to leave a like.
A trio of Miami Heat draft targets get leaked by Greg Sylvander, who does a lot of great work, does a lot of stuff for 5 Reasons Sports Network. Well, he said that the Heat have been associated with 3 specific NBA draft prospects that I wanted to discuss on today's show. But before we get into all of that, I got to give a shout out to my guy, Anthony DiNardo, who just does an excellent job himself creating content on YouTube for the Miami Heat on social media. He shared a video from last week, so I had to show him some love. But if you want a shout out on a future show, follow me over on Twitter at Nick_Roloff. I'm talking Heat basketball every single day, interacting with people over there, sharing my thoughts, putting out short form content. First 5 people to follow me from today's video are going to get a shout out on a show next week. So go give me a follow right now at Nick_Roloff. All right, the 3 players that were linked to the Miami Heat, or at least have been coming up in a lot of conversation when Sylvander was poking around for potential Heat targets here in the NBA draft. They obviously have the 20th overall pick. The 3 players frequently mentioned, according to Greg: Jace Richardson, the guard from Michigan State; Rasheer Fleming, the forward from St. Joe's; and then Cam Jones, the guard from Marquette. Now, off the rip here, I don't love 2 of these 3. I am going to go through all 3 of them, talk about which ones I like, which ones I don't like, what positives, negatives of each prospect, and then at the end, I'm going to give you, as of right now, my top 5 on the Heat's NBA big board. But the only one that I like is the first player that we're going to talk about here is Rasheer Fleming, the forward from St. Joe's. This guy is just everything that the Heat need if you aren't talking about a unbelievable scoring guard. This is a 3/4 at the next level, measured in at 6'8" and a quarter without shoes. So with shoes, he's probably 6'10", and he could still grow. He's only 21. He's 232 pounds, so it's not like he's Kalo where he needs to add weight. No, he's got a lot on his frame already. right away. And he's got just a ridiculous plus wingspan coming in at 7'5". He also just was tremendous in the Atlantic 10 Conference for the St. Joe Hawks last year, averaging 14.7 points a game, shooting an incredible 53.1% from the field. And the part that made me so intrigued was his improved three-point shooting at 39%. So let's go through a quick little scouting report on Rasheer Fleming. He is a dominant play finisher. They used him in so many different roles in that Red Hawks offense, whether it was as an off-ball shooter, if it was a screen roll man. If he got it in that short roll, he was finishing amongst the crowd. Shot 66% at the rim last year at St. Joe's. He's also an improved three-point shooter every year of his career. He shot 39% this year. He shot 29% his first year. Then he shot, I think it was 32%, then 34%, and then up to 39%. Just awesome improvement that you like to see from a prospect. But he's also got a really pretty release. It's high in terms of its release point. It's up there quick. And it reminds me a lot of Michael Porter Jr.'s shot form, if I'm going to be honest. He's also an unbelievably good defender, can guard 3 through 5. He reminds me so much of a player like Dorian Finney-Smith. I'll give you my comp on him in a second. Now, he is an all roses. I will say the couple knocks on him is that he can't really put the ball on the deck and create in the half court. Now, if he gets out in transition, he will drive at you and draw a foul or finish, but in the half court, he doesn't get to the line. It's mostly dunks and open three-point shots for Fleming. He doesn't really work in the mid-range either. So those are the couple of the knocks that I have on Fleming, but for the most part, it's relatively good. Rasheer Fleming is my top target for the Miami Heat. I am hoping and praying he slips to the 20th overall pick if the Heat keep it, and they ultimately go with Fleming. But let me know, name your top Miami Heat draft target. Now, for every prospect in this draft, I do lead our NBA draft coverage here at Chat Sports, so make sure you join us for our live coverage on draft night as well. But I have a late lottery mid-first round pick grade on Fleming. I think he could go anywhere between 11 and 16, 17. That's where I would take him in the draft. So maybe he slides to 20. Some mock drafts like ESPN have him going 27 to Brooklyn. I don't know his range based off what NBA scouts think, but I believe he should be a mid to early first round pick. My player comp for him, I think at the next level, he's like Jonathan Isaac, the former top 10 pick from Florida State, who's been unable to stay healthy in his career for the Orlando Magic. But you see his defensive versatility in terms of being able to switch 5 through 2 defensively. He can knock down a 3 if he's open. He finishes in that dunker spot role in the half-court offense, but also sometimes acts as the ball screener. I project Rasheer Fleming to be a more healthy version, because I've never really seen Fleming deal with injuries, than Jonathan Isaac. And at the 20th overall pick, that is a home run type of player you're adding to your roster, and it's the reason why Fleming is my top guy. I really hope that he is there at 20 and the Heat ultimately take him, because guess what? That's what we're talking about now. If he's able to develop a handle in a creation part of his game as an initiator offensively in the half court, well, we're not talking about someone that could be a top 15, top 20 player in the NBA, and I don't feel wrong about saying that at all. But let's move over to another prospect that the Heat have been linked to, that being Jace Richardson, the guard from Michigan State. This one is a player I'm not high on. Don't have a lot of confidence in him, and I would not want to pick him with the 20th selection. There would have to be so many different players that I like off the board for me to settle with Richardson. And I'll say why. And I hate to say he's too short, but he's too short. He's 6 foot without shoes. Now, the wingspan plays, +6 wingspan, folks. That works. I like a plus wingspan like that. But the reason why I don't think he could be that impactful in a player that Miami should go after is because of his height, but it's because of the way he plays in his role. He is not a point guard. You see it here. That's not the role he played at Michigan State. It's not the role that I project him to play at the next level if he wants to be the best version of himself. He is an off-ball guard. And I just don't know how many off-ball guards have worked in the NBA that is 6 foot, maybe 6'2" with shoes on. I just don't see it. He's a good shooter. He plays off the ball well and makes winning, contributing plays. But is he going to be able to do that against NBA athletes and NBA guys with this height, weight combination? I'm not sure. I'm not sold on it. We're going to talk more about Jace Richardson here in a second. But I got to tell you about a thing that I would take with the 20th overall pick. That's Prize Picks, the daily fantasy sports platform I play every single day. And the conference finals in basketball are fully underway. Make sure you get started and get your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. The app is so easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stat projections. You can mix and match player projections from different sports, go basketball with baseball, with hockey, esports, golf, much more. And you can do it in so many different ways. You can go season long if you want to go to football. You can go daily. You can go series long. I made a pick before the Eastern Conference Finals got started between Knicks and Pacers. More than Miles Turner points, more than Halliburton assists per game, and less than Karl-Anthony Towns rebounds per game. Hopefully, when the series is all said and done, I went 3 for 3 and cashed out on my lineup. But join me and the millions of others today. Download the app and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Links in the description and comments of today's video. Prize Picks. Run your game. The last thing I'm going to say here with Jace Richardson, and it's the same concern that I just showed before we told you about the awesome Prize Picks. He's an off-ball guard. Like, unless he just vastly improves as a playmaker, but why am I taking a guard at pick 20 that really displayed no offensive creating role as a lead guard and trying to force him into that? Like, yeah, I know Tyler Hero didn't do that either, and now he is like almost the point guard for the Miami Heat, although I think we can all agree Miami needs a true point guard, neither here nor there. Like, why am I taking an off-ball smaller guard if the idea here is to find one to fit next to Tyler? Like, I don't think Jace Richardson, with that size profile, with his skill set offensively, fits that well next to Tyler. And I don't know if he's going to be an elite defender at the next level that can guard like 1 through 3. Like, he could guard 1s and likely 2s maybe, but he's not going to be able to switch on to 3s. Like, you're talking best case scenario. Like, in my opinion with Jace Richardson, if he hits on every single part of his development, the best case scenario is Derek White. Now, the difference is, though, and the reason why Derek White is so impactful is his versatility on the defensive end. I think the offensive similarities between White and Richardson are there. Absolutely. The off-ball, the three-point shooting off the catch, and limited ability to run a pick and roll. Yeah, sure. I think that works. But the reason why Derek White's impactful defensively is because he's 6'4" with a 6'7.5" wingspan and can defend so many different players and positions. Can Jace Richardson do that? Yeah, the 6'6" wingspan is great to maybe deter and make some players feel uncomfortable, but is he going to be able to really defend wings if he gets switched on to him like Derek White can with that 6-foot height frame? Like, that is the main concern I have. I think I could see him being an off-ball guard like Derek White, but is that something Miami is trying to pick here at 20? I don't know. I'd rather go with a elite athletic 3-and-D wing or an offensive-minded guard that can fit next to Tyler Hero, and I just don't see that with Jace Richardson. I would borderline take him off my board, and it's not even against him as a prospect. I just don't think he fits very well on this Heat roster and what they're trying to build next to Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, which is why if you ask me about Jace Richardson, I'm likely going to say stay away. All right, going to get to Cam Jones in the final top 5 big board I have for the Heat right now. But make sure you are subscribed because we have elite Miami Heat YouTube coverage every single day, 100% free. Subscribe now, turn notifications on because we drop content every day. I don't want you to miss any video we put out. Last player we're going to talk about is Cam Jones, the Marquette guard. We did a full video on Cam Jones past Sunday, which is why you subscribe as well. If you haven't seen that, subscribe. Go watch the video we put on Sunday if you want more in-depth breakdown of Cam Jones. We're just going to a little overview right now. A combo guard, his size meets what Miami could potentially need, much more than Jace Richardson, 3 inches taller than Jace, same type of wingspan, a little bit more on his frame as well. He was one of the best players in the Big East last season. He just simply knows how to put the ball in the cup. He can score at all three levels. He's so crafty the way he gets inside the paint. Like, there are so many times where you think Cam Jones is dead to right driving to the rim, and next thing you know, he flips it up and in with his left hand, whether it's a sneak layup, whether he gets to the right block, stops, spins, and gets to his left hook and just uses his size advantage to get a little floater. I like the way he can score at all three levels. He could really create his own shot from anywhere, which is one of the biggest positives on him. I also think he's a good decision maker with the ball in his hands. Had a really good assist-to-turnover ratio. He's a 2-to-1 ratio as a junior, as the off-ball creator to Tyler Kolek, and then was the lead creator this year, 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. Really like that. And he's a solid defender as well. Can guard ones and twos, maybe threes if he needs to briefly at the next level. Aggressive point of attack defender, which you need to be in a Shaka Smart system. Now, the couple of negative things on him, though. He shot bad from the free throw line. 60% in the high 60s. Like, that's not good for a guard. And you wonder, with that 31% three-point percentage and then the 68% free throw percentage, is he just not that good of a shooter? I don't know. He's also not an explosive athlete, so he's not going to drive by you with a wicked quick first step and finish quickly and on top of you with his athleticism ability vertically. And he's an older prospect, so those are the couple concerns I have on Cam Jones, but he is a very good offensive player, and there's no doubt about that. So, out of the three players that we have discussed on today's show to this point, Rasheer Fleming, Jace Richardson, and Cam Jones, the one that I would pick is Rasheer Fleming. But I want to know which player you would want the Heat to draft. All three players are on the board at pick 20. Which one would you want? RF for Fleming, JR for Richardson, KJ for Cam Jones. Well, only one of them shows up on my big board for the Heat. Now, this is my big board for the Heat in terms of who I think could be available with the 20th overall pick and who I'd want the Heat to actually select. And this is as of May 24th, a month away from the draft on June 25th. I am not pigeonholing myself into this board. This will likely change. But number one guy is Rasheer Fleming. Cedric Coward is flying up boards in the NBA, and mine personally, you watch his film, although it was only 6 games last season, boy, does it remind you of Jalen Williams and a little bit of Kawhi Leonard, 6'5 and a quarter, 7'2 wingspan. Oh, I got to stop before I make a mess of myself over here. LeBaron Philon has rising on my board, a 6'4 guard that can play on ball, play off ball, reminds me a little bit of a Andrew Nembhard type as a guy who could be a lead guy, but also could play off ball, the Tyler Hero. If you wanted to go big man route, I think Thomas Sorber's the best center that might be there, although I would project him being off the board at 20. And then I really like the upside of Nolan Traore. If I'm picking a guard here at 20 and it's not Philon, I almost think I'll lean Traore slightly over a Tahad Pettiford because I think Traore's got a higher ceiling due to his long-term upside with his size, his playmaking feel, and if he's able to develop a shot and become more efficiently offensively, you're talking about a really solid two-way playmaking guard. He would be number 5 on my big board. The point is with this, I think 2 of them will likely be available. 1 of them for absolutely sure. I think it would be an absolute stone-cold stunner if all 5 of those players I just mentioned were off the board when the Heat were picking at 20. I would project 1, 2, maybe 3. Certainly not all 5, but 3 at best.
That nobody's talking about. It's not involving Kevin Durant, Giannis, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Zion. None of these star players. But this trade instantly could make the Miami Heat title contenders if they can pull it off. Now, before we do start today's video, if you guys enjoy Miami Heat content, we do upload every single day. And our goal this year is to upload for 365 days. And I couldn't do without you guys. So I just want to say I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Continuing to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. And of course, road to 6,000 subscribers. But let's get back into today's video. So you guys are probably wondering, how does this trade make the Miami Heat instant contenders? Well, here's the trade right here. So it says the Miami Heat receives Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and Jordan Clarkson. The Utah Jazz will receive Andrew Wiggins, Nikola Jovic, Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, a 2025 first-round pick, and a 2029 first-round pick. So 2 first-round picks. You're giving up quite a depth, but we're going to break it down. So starting off with the 2 first-round picks, you're probably going to have to give up that because, 1, you're dealing with Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge, he's always going to try to win a trade. And when you're doing Pat Riley, Danny Ainge, like somebody's going to have to break. And for the Miami Heat, they're in a position where they can desperately prove this roster to compete in the Eastern Conference next season. So give up the draft capital, right? But now you're only giving up Duncan Robinson, which you're already willing to move off his contract because he's not worth it and he hasn't really done much for this. We don't care about Terry Rozier, and we can care less about Wiggins. So we have 3 players on the roster that miss the end of the those things where they're supposed to talk to the media. Yeah, they missed all that media availability. They also played terrible in the postseason. And then the only one that's made people have some question with it is Nikola Jokic. But if you're giving up one player for 3 good players, I'm completely fine with this trade. This trade instantly makes us title contenders. Now, when you go to the Miami Heat, talking about the big piece, the big whale, technically, Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen is a very good player. He could play the small forward to the power forward position. And I'm going to show you guys his stats on the screen. Now, I will say last year was a down year. It was. And maybe we can try to maneuver that, work with that. Be like, well, listen, he didn't have his best season. He only played 47 games. Maybe only give 1 first-round pick. But, yeah, he only averaged 19 points a game, 42% from the field, 34.6% from the three-point line, 5.9 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 0.7 steals. The season prior, though, and the season after that, those were his best years, putting up 25, 26 points a game, 23 points a game, shooting 48% from the field, 40% from the three-point line. I mean, his career from the three-point line is 37%. You bring that size, he's about 6'11". Well, no, his wingspan is 6'11", his height 7 feet. So to have a 7-foot monster on your team that's not known as a great defender, but is known as an elite bucket getter, that's what you want near Bam. Like that's a very good addition. I'm not really overthinking what happened last year. The Jazz were just a mess. So we're going to pass that. But the 2 years before that, he was great. Now, when we do look at the contract, you're going to be like, well, it is kind of hefty. Yeah, and it is, right? He's making about $46 million, 46.3 to 46.1. So actually his contract does go down here, but then it goes back up to $49 to $53 million. So, it is pretty high, but I will say, though, you still have a very, very young player who's only like 27, 28 years old who could fit this time frame of Bam Adebayo. Remember, we want somebody that could fit the time frame of Tyler and Bam Adebayo. So I would love the addition of Lauri Markkanen. You can have different lineups out there, Bam and Lauri Markkanen. You can have Lauri Markkanen, Kel'el Ware. You can have Kel'el Ware, Lauri Markkanen. You can switch it up. That's the beauty of it. Kel'el Ware the center, Markkanen the 4. And Bam Adebayo is also not that guy that's going to take that. Well, I don't want to say he's not going to take that leap, but not known as a great offensive scorer. You get that in Lauri Markkanen. Another option to help out Tyler Hero, the 1A, 1B stuff. I love it. But my favorite part of this trade is the depth that we're going to receive out of it. Depth always wins championships. If you look at the Pacers right now, they're going 9-10 deep. Colin Sexton is a Miami Heat. I'm surprised he hasn't been on a Miami Heat. Like, he's literally the perfect fit. Completely love him. He's a pest. He had an amazing season last year for the Utah Jazz. I'm going to put up his stats on the screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But, I mean, dude, he averaged 18.4 points a game, 48% from the field, 40% from the three-point line, 4.2 assists. The year after that, 18.7, 48.7, 39%. I mean, these are very, very solid numbers. Look at the numbers that he put up when he was playing, 21, 20, 15, 18, 27. This is the type of player that you want on the Miami Heat. Him and Davion Mitchell, you could say 2 pit bulls. That's fun right there. That's what you have a lot of fun with Colin Sexton and Davion Mitchell, right? Sexton could play the 1 or 2, so I don't think it's going to, play a factor in the Davion Mitchell situation. And then, we look at his contract. This is a very good contract for a very solid player that can add depth to this team. Look at this, $18.3 million to $19.1. Come on, guys. This is the type of player that you desperately want on the Miami Heat team. And, we can worry about a contract extension later, but he could come off the bench. He can start. He could be that 6-man factor, another shooting guard, another guard on this team that you could, rely on scoring. He can create his own shot. We lack that a lot. When you go to the bench unit, not a lot of players can create their own shot. That was another problem. But once again, another scoring player to help out Tyler and Bam. I mean, this is excellent. A very good contract. He fits the Heat culture, a very pesty defender, offensively got better. I mean, I personally love the addition of Colin Sexton more than Lauri Markkanen, in my opinion. I really, really do. And then we get another player in Jordan Clarkson. So you get two great role players, Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton. Now, Jordan Clarkson could be a little bit overrated, to be honest with you. Like, there's times where he's just doing a lot of dumb stuff. But another shot creator who can get very, very hot coming off that bench, and he can hit. Like, when Jordan Clarkson is hot, he is hot. But when he is bad, he is bad. But Jordan Clarkson this year averaged about 16 points a game. He only played about 37 games played, which is concerning. But he's shooting 36%. So you're adding shooters. Marking around 40%. Colin Sexton around 38, 37. Clarkson about 36%. That's what you want on your team. You're giving up Terry Rozier, who doesn't know how to shoot, to make a layup. Duncan Robinson is useless. Wiggins is useless. So you're adding better players to improve your team. Better players. So 16 points a game. He's always been a bucket in this career. Look at this. His whole career, he averaged double-digit points. Even if it's not the best double-digit points, his whole career. Not a lot of people can say that. Since 2014, 2015, since he got to the Lakers, he's averaging double-digit points. He is professional 6'7" man coming off that bench, and he can score. So I would personally love to have Jordan Clarkson on my team. And then when we look at the contract situation, which will be right here, I don't think it's, too bad at all, right? $14 million, $14 million. So you get 14. For a role player that's going to be better than any other role player that's coming off our bench, I'm taking it. So this would be a potential starting lineup, depending, what we do with Davion. But Sexton, Tyler, Lauri Markkanen, Bam, and Kelly Ware. Like I said, you could put Lauri Markkanen at the 3. He's 7 feet. So we will have a really, really strong lineup right here, right? We could do this. We can, have him at the 4, Bam at the 5, even though I know you don't want to play the 5 and stuff like that. Listen, you can have Davion Mitchell starting. And
Miami Heat linked to $74 million star in case Kevin Durant falls through. The Miami Heat's stagnation over the last few off seasons can't repeat if they want to change their roster and be competitive in the East again. Sadly, they may not have the assets to land a star like Kevin Durant or Giannis Antetokounmpo, pivoting them to acquire a star player who doesn't demand as much capital. One Clutch Points article proposed the Heat acquire Sacramento Kings forward DeMar DeRozan, dishing out Duncan Robinson, Terry Rozier, and Andrew Wiggins for the 6-time All-Star. Rozier rapidly declined in play from last season, while Robinson and Wiggins haven't been the playmakers the Heat need to be playoff contenders. Pat Riley is always aggressive on the summer trade market, and he will be involved in any conversations about all-star players hitting the market. It is highly unlikely that all 3 of Duncan Robinson, Terry Rozier, and Andrew Wiggins begin the 2025-26 season on Miami's roster. DeMar DeRozan is once again viewed by other teams as a potential target for Riley and the Heat. DeRozan's production slightly dipped last season, but he still averaged 22.2 points on 47.7% shooting. He would headline the scoring unit alongside Tyler Herro, while Bam Adebayo can focus on two-way playmaking instead of being forced to overplay himself offensively. It could be a good addition for the Heat, giving them the complementary star they need in the front court. The Heat have some competition though, with teams like the Los Angeles Lakers and Orlando Magic projected to attempt to grab DeRozan. And you fan, what do you think about DeMar DeRozan's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.